Okay, everyone. So I will take the stage then, and we will start our webinar today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. The topic of our webinar will be, as you see, the Google Discover spikes and how we can turn these spikes into the steady revenue stream. At first, let me take just 1 minute to introduce the team. So my name is Yaroslava. I've been with MGID for more than 6 years already. Currently, I'm working in a role as a channel partnership manager in MGID, and I'm managing key accounts and strategic partners within MGID. But also, I have a deep expertise in working with direct clients and different traffic sources, and especially with Google Discover as well. I'm also here today with my colleague Svetlana. Please meet her as well.
Hi, everyone.
Svetlana is the head of the APAC acquisition team with over 13 years in the expertise, and she has extensive experience with working direct publishers, the networks, and focused on building long-term relationship with publishers that drive mutual growth to both of us. And before we dive into today's agenda, our team will be sharing a registration link, by the way, in the chat for the publishers who would like to monetize with MGID and immediately and start exploring opportunities together. So please feel free to save it for later while we continue the webinar. And now let's move on to the agenda. So let's start with a quick overview of what we will cover today. First, we will look on how Google Discover works and why it's becoming such an important source of traffic for us. Then we will talk what kind of content performs best in Google Discover and how publishers can increase their visibility in the feed. After that, we will cover the packaging strategies, which are the headlines, the visuals, the preview, the drive distribution. We will also discuss how to deal with volatility, including Google updates and sudden traffic drops. And finally, we will talk how to monetize Discover traffic effectively together with MGID and what is our role there. And of course, we will have a QA session later, and we will answer all the questions you have. In the meantime, feel free to write them in the chat, and we will then pick them up and give you an answer. So let's start with very important question, why Discover and why now? And before going into that, we will also share a quick poll for you to identify what is Google Discover traffic source for you currently now. So is it an additional source of traffic? Is it the main source of traffic, or you haven't worked with Discover yet? It would be also very interesting for us to see the patterns. Across the industry right now, we are seeing a clear shift, and the traditional search is gradually losing clicks, while personalized content feeds are becoming more and more important in the industry. And Google Discover is a perfect example of such shift because unlike search, Google Discover is not based on queries, and users are not actively searching for something there. And Google Discover shows the content to the user based on their interest, behavior, locations, freshness of the content, and trust signals. So publishers are no longer competing for the keywords, they're competing for user engagement and the interest. Another difference about Google Discover is how the traffic behaves, because the traffic usually comes in waves, and a story might suddenly receive a huge spike of traffic, but then after a few days or even hours, the spike may disappear quickly. Discover audience, they are also typically top of funnels users, so they are the explorers, and they are very mobile heavy. So the real success formula we are looking for on today's webinar is not just how to get those spikes from Google Discover, but the real final goals for us is how to get repeat content distribution in Google Discover from those spikes, and how to convert the spike into deeper user session and the revenue per session, because we are also here to monetize those traffic. Now let's look at how publishers can approach Google Discover as an additional traffic source. So for many websites so far, Google Discover is not necessarily the main source of the traffic, but it can become a good additional and valuable diversification channel for the publishers. So instead of relying on only social or only search traffic, Discover can bring you the new users and new audience reach, and especially the audience that was not actively searching for your content. But to benefit from the channel, from the Google Discover, the publisher need to understand how to distribute the content and what affects this distribution. So the next slide, we will focus on that and we'll answer those questions. Let's look at the practical starter plan that we created. First, it's important to understand where Discover audience actually come from. Discover recommendations are generated based on a lot of signals, so which we already talked through a little bit, which are the user interest, browsing behavior, location, content freshness, topic momentum, and trust. Now, if you want to start working with Google Discover, we're proposing a simple 7-day setup plan for you to do and try reach the audience from the source. So first, you need to confirm that the Discover report is enabled in your Google Search Console, because this is the main place where you will track Discover performance. The second step that you need to build a Discover segment inside your analytics platform, so you can analyze how Discover behaves and how it's different compared to other traffic sources. And next, create what we call a hub list, basically a list of top 50 pages that receive Discover clicks. Then tag these pages by topic, the image type, the format, the author, because this will help you to identify the patterns that performs worse, good, or well. And finally, you need to define some KPIs. The most important ones there will be CTR in Search Console, engagement signals such as time spent on the page of the user or scroll depth, and of course, revenue per session. So what kind of content actually performs best in Discover? From our experience and the industry data, there are 4 main content formats that consistently performs well. First are timely updates, meaning content related to trending topics or some breaking news. The second one, evergreen explainers, where the editor break down the complex topics in a clear and useful manner. Third, how-to articles and list-based content, which are very popular in mobile environment because they are easy to scan and analyze. And fourth, comparison and roundups, which helps the reader very easily evaluate some option. A good editorial strategy we recommend is a weekly mix across those 4 content buckets, because this will help you to increase the chances that some of your articles will be picked by Discover. And after that, you can compare and choose the best strategy for your content. Another important thing is the packaging of the content, because even strong story or even strong content may not perform well if it's not packaged properly. So we are talking here about a few important factors. The first one is the headlines. So for the headlines, for example, the ideal length would be 40-60 characters, and the headline must make sense out of context, because once the user see it inside the feed, he needs to have a willing to click on it and understand exactly what is it about from the preview. The other important aspect is obviously the visuals and the preview itself, because the lead image is a critical element as well, and images should be at least 1200 pixels wide and eligible for large previews. Avoid using like generic stock photos. Visuals that feels more authentic and specific, they tend to perform better. The third step is very obvious. Obviously, a very useful tactic is A/B testing. For example, for your top Google Discover candidates sites, each week test 2 articles, 2 headline variants, 2 image variants, publish one version first, And if the early CTR is below your baseline, that what you expected, adjust the packaging rather than rewriting the whole article and the whole content. And one important thing there is that clickbait might increase the CTR in the short term for you and drive more clicks and do the spike for you, but it often harms content distribution in a long run for publishers. So we do not recommend that. And Google doesn't like it as well. So if users don't quickly find the answer promised in your headline that you chosen, Discover may simply reduce the reach of that content in the feed. And finally, always think about on-page retention, because as we already discussed, most of the users from Discover, they are on mobile devices. So your content should be easy to scan, easy to read, with short introduction, clear subheadings, some bullet points, and key takeaway presented early in the article for user easily to identify it. Finally, let's talk about stability, because Discover traffic, as a lot of you may know, can be very volatile, and there are several factors that could affect the traffic drop from Google Discover. For example, Google core updates, obviously, or overly aggressive packaging, or clickbait headlines, as we said, or repeating the same coverage without adding any new value, or technical issues as well. So there are a lot of things that affect your stability and presence in Google Discover feeds. So to reduce the risks, we suggest following a few stability principles that works for us and for our publishers. First of all is building topic authority clusters. This means that you consistently should publish around specific topic, so the Google recognize you as a reliable source or as an expert as a subjected area, and in that way it will publish you more. So if you are posting about lifestyle or home supplies, home and garden content, etc., if the more you post about it, the more you write the different content strategies about it, the more Google recognize you as an expert in the field and will show your content more often to the users. The second important factor is obviously maintaining high quality floor, because even though if you will be publishing quite frequently, each article still needs to have a strong editorial standard for Google. And Discover tends to reward publishers that publish consistently, but they do not reward also publishers that just post some content in a large burst and disappear for several days. So here, like, frequency plus the quality is the key. Many of the publisher of ours, they maintain a strategy of posting at least around 3-5 posts per day. Typically, this includes a mix of like trending topics, breaking news, refreshed evergreen articles, or how-to or list-based articles. This type of balanced content strategy, it helps you to make your site more visible in the feed and appear more often. Then you also need to understand how to distinguish the spike of the content and the retention content, because some articles will generate you a quick traffic spikes, while other articles should be designed to keep user engaged and browsing your site longer, which also will affect positively on your appearance in the Discover feed. It's also important, of course, to monitor page experience signals of the user, such as core web vitals, on a weekly basis at least, because performance issues can affect Discover distribution gradually. So from a technical perspective, we also recommend maintaining like strong core web vitals targets that we mentioned on the slide here. Yeah, and I will ask the team to share a small poll, because we are curious about how core updates influence your Google Discover traffic. So are you seeing a drop? It hurts, but it's manageable for you, or you experience significant traffic drops? And now I will give the word to Svetlana.
Thank you, Yaroslava. So Yaroslava shared and covered the information that were focused on Google Discover as additional traffic source. And I also, guys, checked the answers to the first poll. So basically, we have people who work with Google Discover only, who work with it as an additional source for their traffic, and those who don't work at the moment. So the information that Yaroslava shared is actually helpful for everyone here. And yes, again, we will share all this information with you. So no worries, you will have it and you will be able to return to it later and check. I am going to talk right now about Google Discover as a main traffic source. And here is on the next slide, the flow, what we are going to focus on. This is like a step-by-step, basically instruction, how to actually start from scratch if you never worked with Google Discover, but you want to. We will cover how to start, which website to choose, which domain you need for the start. Also, how to check this domain so it can be eligible for Google Discover feed. Then we will cover how to actually get featured in this Google Discover feed. Also, the reasons why some website get the index and what to do with this. And one of the most crucial topics in this Google Discover business is Google updates and what to do with them. So let's start. And the first step that we need to follow, we actually need, obviously, a website to work on. And it's not that any website can be eligible for Google Discover. It's very important that this website has already a good credibility in Google. That's why to start, you need to buy an expired domain. And we also come to time length, the best one that better to buy the expired domain, and it's from 2 to 6 months. So you don't want to buy the domain that is like really fresh, just expired, or too old, like 1 year, 2 years. It will never work because it's too old. On the next slide, we will cover the domain check. So basically, you already found the domain, which is from 2 to 6 months of expiration date. And before buying it, you needed to check several conditions, which are crucial to get featured in Google Discover feed. And the first one is indexing in Google. So this domain, it should be indexed in Google. Otherwise, it will not work. So this is the first step that you need to check right away. Apart from this, the second important thing is the quality of backlinks. So, of course, you should have backlinks. And the crucial part here is to have quality backlinks. So, and you want to have at least 2 to 3 backlinks from reputable websites so that your domain can actually be featured in Google Discover feed. The next point we discussed on the next slide. This is how to actually get listed in Google Discover. So you already bought the domain, you checked it, and it's eligible. And now you need to start working on the content so that to get featured in Google Discover feed. The first point is to publish trendy content. Not any content, but the one that really gets a huge exposure in the world, or the specific geo you are focusing on. Let's say it's US traffic, then you need to check the most trending news, the most viral news that is happening in the US right now. For this, you can use Google Trends. And you can use many filters there, like to divide it by categories, by countries. It's pretty easy and very helpful to choose the best content. The next point is posting frequency. How many articles to post every day? So in average, it's the number is 5 to 6 articles per day. And the content here must be really unique. Google checks the content of each website that get listed in Google Discover feed. So it should not be a copy paste, but your own written unique content on a specific topic. Once you see already your website get featured in Google Discover feed, you can increase the number of posting articles to at least 10 to 20. Why? Because it really helps to boost a huge amount of traffic to your website. Since it's already getting in Google Discover feed, you can increase the number of posts and get even more traffic. Also, what is important here is the content consistency. So if you, for example, trying to get into Google Discover, right? So you need to post 5 to 6 articles per day. You can skip like one day or a few days or have a vacation. It's really important for you to be consistent and to post every day. Also, if you can do it in a specific times, like every morning at the same time, then morning between lunchtime, etc., that would also be good. We have seen a lot of positive effects from this kind of consistency as well. So that is how you got listed in Google Discover and you get your traffic right now. On the next slide, we will talk about the reason the website gets the index, because as I mentioned earlier, how the website is indexed in Google is very important for Google Discover feed. So this is something that you would like to keep an eye on so that your website really get indexed in Google. So what happens sometimes when you buy expired domains, right? The name and the categories of this old website, they might be about, let's say, business, right? But the country you're working on and the trending news, they may be about another completely different category, right? Like, for example, entertainment news. And if you post a lot of articles that are completely different from those articles that were posted before, this is how the website slowly got the index. So the best thing to do is still try, to catch up with the previous content of this website. If you do this, if you post at least a few articles that are the same from the content they had before, then it increases the chances for the website not to get the index. Also, sometimes backlinks, they are getting blocked or removed. So this is something that you want also to keep a very close eye. And sometimes the websites are used for backlinking a new website. And this is one of the reasons the new website is getting the indexed as well. So these are the most common mistakes. And if you follow those suggestions, you can avoid this or prolong the lifetime of your website. And on the next slide, we are covering Google Discover updates. Lately, especially from the end of last year, we had a lot of updates from Google. And not all updates actually affect your websites. So sometimes it's just a slight changes in Google algorithms, and many webmasters, they just don't do anything. They don't change anything on their websites, but just wait, for maybe 1 or 2 weeks for the algorithms to keep up, and then post their content again. And there are no issues with their websites getting featured in Google feed. And it works really in 90 cases. But some of Google updates, they are really big, and they can affect your websites pretty tough. As an example, I would like to talk about the last Google's update. It was quite huge, and it affected a lot of webmasters. So that was the mismatch between the content and IP of this actually website. So let's say if you focus on US traffic, right? So you write your news about like business, politics, and those are the news related to US, but your IP is not from US. So that is what Google did. The Google penalized those news, those websites, and those websites, they stopped being featured in a Google Discover feed. What is the solution for this? The solution is you don't need to give up on US traffic, but you can switch to other categories. Something that is not really serious, like politics or business, and switch to like entertainment, lifestyle, celebrities. Again, you can use Google Trends for finding those viral topics, and they will be featured in Google Discover feed, same as business and politics, and you will be able to get big amounts of traffic again by just switching the content. So as you see, not every update actually affects the website, but some updates really affect. So sometimes you just need to be aware of those updates and understand if you need to change anything on your website or no. And on the next slide, we've put here information about different sources that you can use for keeping an eye on all Google updates with all the details and make the changes if needed, of course, on your websites so that to still be able to get traffic from Google Discover feed. And this is all from my side, and I am passing the word to Yaroslava again.
Thank you, Svetlana. Yes, and now once we finally finalized why Google Discover, how to get the traffic from Google Discover as an additional traffic source, or how to work with Google Discover when it's your main source, we are finally diving deep into monetization. And in correlation with that, I will ask the team to share the registration link once again, because we finally will talk what is MGID role in it and how we help our publishers to decide and choose the best monetization strategy for Google Discover. So the very important question is how we can monetize Google Discover traffic effectively together with advertising platform, because this type of traffic is very different from traditional search visitors or any other types of traffic. The users, they quickly arrived, they consume the content, they can leave as quickly as they arrived if the content strategy is too aggressive or the ad strategy is too aggressive. So the first rule we need to focus on is protecting our session depth. The goal is here not to optimize and maximize the RPMs that we are receiving from the first page view, but the focus should be how we can increase the revenue per session while maintaining at the same time healthy engagement user metrics. Things like page per session, time on site, and scroll depth of the user. A practical approach is to start with lightweight, high visibility placements, such as in article or below content monetization. At the same time, we want to avoid heavy ad positions or not maximize it too much on the very first page view for the user, because if the layout will become too intrusive or even slow, user will bounce very quickly and we lose the opportunity to monetize the traffic and generate the engagement. So the key idea here is very simple. We need to monetize in a way that keeps user engaged, not pushed away from us. Before diving deep in MGID role, we want to do a quick poll on how confident are you in monetizing your Google discovered traffic? Are you confident in your monetization strategy? You don't need any advisors, or you think it could perform better and you are searching for some other opinions of the advertisers, of the advertising team, or you are not monetizing the traffic and you'd like to start. Of course, implementing the strategy becomes much easier when you have a very reliable advertising partner around you and that have a very strong experience with working with that type of traffic. And that's why MGID is there, because in MGID, we partnered with a massive amount of large publishers that are working with Google Discover. And that means that we understand the best behavioral patterns of this type of traffic, and we understand what type of ad placements performs better for different publisher setups. So either the publisher is using Google Discover as a key source, or either it's using Discover as an additional source. Another advantage of MGID is obviously a very fast and smooth onboarding, because with us, you will be getting started in as little as 2 hours. From the sign-up form to the widget implementation, we do not require traffic volumes minimums. We have the rapid website moderation, which I will talk a little bit later, why it's crucial for Google Discover. Quick widget setup by yourself or with the help of the manager, and dedicated onboarding support, which ensures everything runs smoothly on your website. When working with Discover traffic, one of the crucial factors, obviously, is ad relevance and technical performance. We remember that most of the Discover users, they are coming from the mobile devices. So ad formats must be very fully responsive and designed with a mobile-first experience in mind. MGID ad units adapt to any layout of the page, so they feel very natural, native within the content environment. They are not interrupting the user journey. Therefore, the Google Discover likes that way of monetizing. We use also Discover optimized formats that are specifically designed to maximize user engagement, do not disturb the user experience, but at the same time drive high CTRs and RPM rates. And just as importantly as adaptive layout and Discover optimized formats, the integration should also be simple. And that's what we propose, because we are using a very lightweight JavaScript implementation that ensures fast loading time and strong Core Web Vitals performance. This is important for the publishers because performance signals, as we already told, can also influence how often and or if the content at all appears in the Google Discover feed. So we have all 3 in 1 to propose. To maximize the performance from this audience, we've also developed a few packages. So it's only one of them. For example, this is a package that was tailored specifically for Google Discover traffic, for clients that are willing to increase the revenue and maximize the revenue out of this traffic. In this case, for example, we propose a smart widget, which combines the native ads with infinite scroll or without infinite scroll feature, which encourages users to keep exploring the content, seeing more ad slots, but naturally encountering it on it, so not disturbing the user experience. We also have an article widget that is placed natively within somewhere in between the article of the pages. And the smart widget itself already brings very high performance, like 40% increase in CTR and 20% increase in CPM, at least, compared to the standard under article widgets that publisher tends to like and use with 3 or 6 teasers. We also have a scroll ads, which appears either at the top of the page or at the bottom of the page, but it helps us to fix or increase the viewability of the widget. So if the client wants to monetize only under article placement and he's not negotiable, we are often choosing the scroll ads option for us to receive more viewable users, receive more clicks, and try it as an additional solution for us to drive more revenue and user engagement. And finally, we have MGID Story, which is our back button format, highly popular within our publishers. It's an infinite scroll feed as well that encourage deeper session interaction and user interact more there is more interaction between the user and the content. Together in this package, those formats are designed to increase the revenue for the publisher, but while also improving monetization performance overall. And I wanted quickly to show you one of our case study with the publisher. It's actually a very popular case that we are occurring, how we optimized Google Discover traffic monetization. So one of our clients, actually a lot of clients do that, they is self-registered or they are on account management, but they are willing to do everything on their own, which we respect. But initially he always used only one under article format and small in article within the page, and he was not willing to do anything else. But one day he came to us and told us that the RPM and the revenue is very low, and it's hard for him, especially with the Google Discover traffic spikes, volatility, updates. So he wanted to maximize the revenue out of the traffic as much as possible. And the second part of the challenge was that he wanted to improve the process of the site approval and activation, which actually, as the final result, became one of the main reasons why Google Discover publishers choose MGID. So how did we fix it? What we did, how we optimized the website approval process and moderation. We reduced the waiting time for site approvals to the bare minimum. Together with the product team, what we did is, first of all, we shared the experience of this publisher. We collected experience of other publishers as well, and we understood that this is one of the main pains for Google Discover publishers, and we created an AI moderation tool right now that which we can enable for the client, for trusted partners with whom we work for some time, and when we understand that their traffic from Google Discover has a good quality. And instead now of waiting for the manager's manual moderation of the website or approval, the system reviews this on its own. So within 5-7 minutes, your website will be approved. The publisher doesn't need to wait for the manager. If we are in different time zones, for example, it's very helpful for the publisher that are working with Google Discover. They can quickly approve the websites, they can quickly proceed with the widgets on their own, they can quickly implement them, and the manager will assist or can assist if there is the help is needed with some additional formats integration, for example. So this significantly reduced the time to launch monetization. And the next step is how we optimized the revenue. So after analyzing the website structure and user behavior, we proposed several improvements from our end. Let me remind you, the publisher used only one article and a small under article widget below the content. The first step, we reviewed the in-article placement. We understood that the publisher article length allows us to add more than one in-article without disturbing the user experience. And we implemented it in 3 different places with different designs for it to be not repeating the same pattern of the design, for user to not to be intrusive. We also changed the under article to smart widget, which immediately affected in a better CPM. After that, we tested enabling MGID story, and it worked. Actually, we have, I think most of the publisher who works with Google Discover, they are actively using MGID story, and it's fully compliant with Google Discover traffic. We have experience in that. And it also increased the user engagement for us and session depth. After that, we tested the swipe up format, which was also a very useful format for users that are coming from a mobile, because they can easily interact with it, they can easily either click or close it. We are not disturbing, once again, user experience. And as a result, we tested all of these approaches and we received great result. Important note, we didn't test that all of that at the same time. So we were with Google Discover, that's why having an advertising platform like MGID is great, because you have a dedicated manager who can test everything for you. So we were doing ABC testing, we were implementing multiple in-article designs, we identified the best configuration for the publisher. So we were testing it all one by one. And after that, we evaluate the result. So the final outcome, the CTR of in-article widgets remains quite strong. We are driving high user engagement for each placement. MGID story generated for publisher 20-25 additional revenue. Swipe up generated 30-35 of additional revenue, and the RPM of the publisher increased 3 times. So in that's a very successful case of the publisher for whom Google Discover was the key source of traffic, and how having a reliable partner here as MGID helped him to scale it and receive the maximum result. Yeah, and I'm giving my word to Svetlana.
Thank you, Yaroslava. Guys, before moving forward, I see that you have some questions, but since the chat is really active, so could you please ask your questions in specifically dedicated space? It's called questions in the right bottom corner, so that we will not lose any questions by you, and we will be able to answer you at the end of the webinar. Thank you. And yeah, let's move on. So Yaroslava shared with us the monetization strategies and also the successful case studies, which proves MGID to be really efficient in terms of monetizing Google Discover traffic. And it's not only because of monetization strategies, but again, it's the insights that we are sharing with our clients who work with us, right? Our product team is constantly working on helping websites to be in a Google Discover feed, to keep up with the Google updates. All this information is available for the clients who are active with MGID. So please, you are welcome to be our client, and yeah, you will have the registration link in the chat. And on the next slide, I would like to share with you our partnership terms and conditions, and all of them are based on the feedback of our clients. This is important for us to improve ourselves and to be really helpful and useful for our clients. That is why MGID offers one of the highest revenue share models in every market worldwide, as well as the flexible and fast payment terms that can help you to scale up your business. We understand how important it is sometimes, so you are welcome to talk to your manager about it, and we will be able to negotiate the post-payment terms for you. The second is that every client in MGID has a dedicated manager. And for Google Discover, we specifically have a team that is focused on this type of traffic, who are experts in this field and can optimize the ad formats for the best performance. As well as, of course, as I mentioned, we are sharing Google Discover insights, since we are using some of the tools for Google Discover, which are paid, but this is available for our clients. So we are sharing all the data with you as well. As well as some of the important points for many of our clients is not to have like some strict agreements or something. That's why we don't force anyone to sign agreement, only if it's important for you. We are transparent here and openly talk about any terms and conditions, as well as signing or not signing the agreement. And one of the key benefits that our clients enjoy is that we offer unique possibility not only get the revenue with MGID with monetizing your website, but also you can get additional extra revenue from our referral program. We offer it to our clients who work with us, and also can recommend friends or anyone who works with Google Discover traffic, and you will get in a certain amount of commission from the revenue generated from every single website that your friends or anyone will bring to MGID as well. And that is all about terms and conditions. And we are actually wrapping up. So that's the information that we wanted to share with you guys today. And I hope that you learned some valuable information about Google Discover, and that you can also scale up your business. So just a reminder for you that MGID can be in this journey with you and help you not only to reach the best monetization for your websites, but also to keep you updated in terms of Google Discover insights. And if you would like to join us, again, you have registration link in the chat. So once you register, it's pretty simple and takes maybe just a few minutes. Our Google Discover experts will get in touch with you very shortly.